Hello, welcome to the video on functions. Now remember we implemented this code in the previous um, video. We had done a display loop. Now ideally if we want to make a function, what we want to do is we want to declare a function display which displays the contents of the array. And because we display it again and again, there's no need to write the for loop every time we want to display the code. So we could set a set of lines of code, call it a function, and call it whenever we want it to. We will see the example, it will understand it better. In the program, we already saw one function for main, and main was a function which was already used. That's a starting point in a C program. So void main was already there. Display function we'll create, and one more function which we could create is the search function. Now ideally in the search function we should pass the variable which we want to search, let's say k, and I want to search whether that number is there or not. Let us see how this code can be done. So this is the code we had implemented last time. What we want is we want this code to be simplified and kept outside. Control C, and I'll put the code after the final brace of main. Okay, at the very end I'm going to implement my void display function. What is the meaning of the word void? Void basically means that this function does not return anything. It's empty, void. So that is why because we are not returning anything, we call it void display. If we want returning an integer, we could have said int display. But right now we don't want to return anything, so it's void display. And how does this function work? We have named it with a name called display. This is the name. It has an opening and a closing bracket, a curly brace to start it like the main function, and a curly brace to close it, opening and closing brace. This code is as it is. Now what we now can do is, essentially this code is here has simplified. We can simply write here display. That's it. If you want to call the array one more time, here also we could remove and we could simply say display. Now if you can notice, the code has become more intuitive. We have initialized the array, we display the array, then we change the value and we display the array. So the display can be called any number of times from outside. Now let's run this program and see whether we have made this code a bit more better. Save, compile and run, and it's giving an error. Now the error is the function display we have declared, but we should have initialized it in the beginning. So what is ideal done is, this piece of line of code has to be there at the very beginning saying, listen, main will be calling a function called display. So this is kind of initializing the function that, I will be calling display within this code like I'm calling it here. Now let's run it and see what happens. So the error is coming. Let's learn how to read the error. The error is normally found at the bottom. It says return type of main is not int. In function display, I is undeclared first use in this function. So it is saying that in the display function, one problem is that I is not declared. We should declare I. Okay, now let's compile and run and see. It says the return type of main is not int. In function display, ARR is undeclared first use in this function. So what is happening is, we have the code of ARR here and we are using ARR within this code, but this ARR has not been declared here. Now the thing is, the value of ARR has been given here, so we cannot take it from here and put it inside that code. But what we'll have to do is, we'll have to make ARR global. Now what do you mean by global variables? Global variables are those variables which are declared outside the main code, outside the function. It's declared outside. It's written on the right on the top. We have declared it. Code which is declared inside is considered as local variables. So these are local variables, and this is a global variable. And global variables can be accessed in the main. It can be accessed in the display. So now we have declared it outside. Let's see what happens. So now that code was implemented, it didn't give any error and it says found. Now this is the way to code. It's very easy to simply take from a textbook or from the internet. The ideal method is step by step learning to learn the bugs, read the bugs, understand what's happening, what changed. So this is a simple function. It has its own variable and it loops through it and it displays the array. One thing you have to notice is this ARR is now a global variable which we have stored outside both main and the display function. Now let's try to optimize this search code and try to take it out. So this time we'll do Control X and we'll make a new function outside this. So after the display function's brace is closed, we'll declare a new function search, void search, and this time we'll pass a value into it. Let's say I'm searching for K. So the code looks like this. I'm searching for K. Inside this for loop I'm using an I, but now I will not be understood here, so we need to declare I, int I. ARR is anyway a global variable, it will be okay. Now flag again we don't have, so we should declare a flag. Initialize the flag like we did there. And this code should work like this. Now instead of after setting K, we are going to search. How do we search? What do we search for? We have to pass the variable 7. Or in our case, we could say K. Yeah. Now as we did for display, it's ideally very good to define this function at the very beginning. So after display, I'm going to put this, but please put a semicolon here. When we put code here, we don't need to put semicolon when the void code is applied and the function is made. But in the beginning, when we declare it, we need to put semicolon at the end of every line. That's why we have a semicolon here. So now the code in the main program has become much more smaller. Our main program is readable in one single page. We have a display function. We are putting a new line. We are initializing the value of array, changing it to 66, displaying it again, and we are searching for 7. Let us see whether this code works. And yes, the code is working for found. Let us see for the not found case, what does it do? If I search for 99, I'm changing it here only. Compile and run. And the code says not found. So that's good. So that is the way we implement functions, how we take it out. This is the way we pass a variable into a function. So basically we have passed a parameter into the function. K has been passed into the function search. Yes. And in the next function class, we will learn how to return something from the search function. So thank you.